Jones.
Hey, Craig, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty well, yeah.
I am likely to drop off early on this one.
Oh, okay.
Delivery expected any point in time. So
Oh,
as I hear it, I'm going to jump off.
nice. All right, sounds good. Did you manage to make it through both chapters?
Nope. Did you?
Just barely. I really pushed myself today, but yeah, just barely. Like right before this, I just finished the summary of chapter. What is this? 11, 12, whatever it is.
Rubinius.
Yeah, Rubinius. Yeah.
So I read about halfway through, and somehow today turned into like 6 hours of meetings.
Ooh,
So
fun.
yeah, they were all good and interesting meetings, but as I was trying to catch up right before this, I was like, nah, I just wasn't absorbing anything. So I read the summary and went for a walk. So
Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's see if I can get notes going here.
Is it just us today?
So far, yeah, looks like it might be. So yeah, JRuby, Ruby on the JVM. That seemed like I've definitely heard of both of these things before, and I knew that there were pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
I think like initially my perception of JRuby was like, oh, Java people just want it to be on Java so that they can do Java things. And I kind of understood that there might have been a slight performance increase, but I was like, I don't know if it's gonna, like last forever, or if MRI will catch up or whatever. Like, kind of like with the whole Node versus what was it? I feel like there was a slightly different one for a while, and then it came back to Node. Anyway, I don't know. Or even like in early days of Rails, I think there was a separate framework, and then it kind of got merged back into Rails 3, I think.
Mm.
And it's just like, oh, so somebody's making some improvements, like it wasn't moving fast enough on the mainline MRI, so they're going to make their own improvements some other way, and then it'll probably make its way back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This kind of made it seem like the JRuby one is really much more efficient, much more performant. And there were actually some really good selling points in that, the JVM has been really like scrutinized and worked on meticulously for like 20 years or whatever. Like it's, I mean, that's, you think about it, like Java is sort of the like e-commerce or whatever, like it's, or the enterprise, like it's like the standard for that kind of thing. And there's a reason for that. So
Yeah.
kind of made a lot of sense. And so I was like thinking, like, what would it take for GitLab to experiment with moving to JRuby? What would that look like? But then I also wonder, like, you have the main Ruby, right? Mainline Ruby, and I think it's all open source, so whatever, it could probably happen mostly simultaneously. But I imagine like Ruby 3 comes out, like how long does it take for JRuby 3.0 or whatever to come out after that? Like, is there that lag because you're on the non sort of standard version, or how does that work?
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. The one big thing I took away from that is the line about making it easier to do Ruby on environments where it's harder to set up Ruby. And I was immediately thinking of like Windows development. So it just makes
Boom, yeah.
JRuby and JVM makes it easier to do the Ruby development and deployment on non-Unix, non-Mac boxes. And saw a bunch of that at Puppet. We did have some portions of our application that were written in JVM, but I don't think they were thinking about where the platform would be deployed. I think, honestly, I think mostly it was out of interest. Someone wanted to try the JVM, and there was probably some performance pieces to it as well, where they proved that JVM was just a lot faster than MRI. So,
Gotcha. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting though when they were talking about like, does the just-in-time compiler speed up your JRuby program? And the example they chose, I was like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't look like it does. That's a weird example to choose.
Yeah.
Because at first it definitely did not, and then it was only after what was it like over 100,000, close to 1,000,000 times that it finally did, and it seems like it did it marginally.
Yeah.
Even though that's like a logarithmic scale or whatever, like it still feels like they're very close, and they're just like keeping in touch. Then after that, and I was like, that doesn't seem worth it. And then they did the other one later. What was it? Something with string, I feel like, near the end.
Was
It
it
was like,
the copy on write comparison?
yeah, the copy on write ones. And I was like, oh, it's 2.5 times faster. Like that is serious. Like that's improvement right there.
Yeah,
So,
it seems like it makes sense for like smaller applications. The MRI would be faster, but for enterprise applications, you will pay that one-time hit of spinning up the JVM and starting all the executions, but eventually it will scale out. And actually, I hear someone at my door, so
okay.
I have to go.
All right.
Sorry,
Well, I'll
man.
see if anybody else shows up, but otherwise we'll call it there. Thanks.
All right.
It's been great.
Good seeing you, Dov.
All right. Catch you later, Craig.
Bye.
Pause the recording. All right. Nobody else joined, so I am calling it for this week. Catch y'all later.